Okay, we're just going to continue on question 10. So we worked out y is equal to 4x minus 15. We've drawn the graph. Now we've got to find the other equation. Once we find the other equation, then we should be able to determine the intersection of those two straight lines. So I'm going to draw or attempt to draw this equation here. Now I can use the xy intercept method. I cannot use the xy intercept method for this because when we want to find out our y-intercept, x is equal to 0, so therefore this will become 0, so our y-intercept will be 0. If our y-intercept is 0 and our x-intercept is 0, we won't be able to find out our rise and run. So it's not a good method to use. So we're going to use the gradient intercept method, where we need to make y the subject. We need to make it look like a y is equal to mx plus c. So to do that, we need to make y the subject. So I'm going to try and do that here. To do that, we need to make y by itself. So I'm going to minus 2x on both sides. And that cancels. We're left with y is equal to minus 2x. Now if we were to show you y is equal to mx plus c, you can see that this section here is empty. So if we had to quantify that emptiness, it will be 0. Now we also need to know our rise and run. So our m has a run of 1, because negative 2 divided by 1 is still negative 2. So now we have our equation here. So let's start with applying our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is 0. So I'm going to do that here. And our rise and run is negative 2. Our gradient is negative 2, so our rise will be negative 2. So I'm just going to make this thin arrow. And so we start out our y-intercept where it's 0. We go down 2, because it says here to go down 2, and then we go to the right 1. So let's go down 2, 1, 1, 2, and our run is 1. So now if we can join those two dots, we stopped here. So we started here, we end here, we join those two dots, and that's our equation. I'd like to do that in green. So just bear with me, I'm just trying to come up with a thick green line. I'm going to join these two dots, which is roughly like that. And I'll make this protrude a little bit more as well, that way, so it looks like a good line. So it doesn't need to be perfect, but we can see our point of intersection is right here. So I'm going to try and draw our coordinate for our intersection right here. So our coordinate will be negative 5.5. So negative, not negative 5. Roughly 2.5, and our y will be negative 5.5. Okay, that's about it pretty much. We'll move on to the next question. So to find out our line segment, the distance, we've got our equation here. I've plotted the first point and the second point. So the first point is our x1 and y1 is 2 and 3, and our x2, y2 is 6 and 6. So let's substitute these into the formula and then slowly simplify until we get our answer. So you can see here our x2 is 6. So let's put 6 here. Our x1 is 2. Our y2 is 6. And our y1 is 3. I'm going to write this in black. So this will equal to 6 minus 2 all squared plus 6 minus 3 all squared and then that is equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared, and this is equal to 16 plus 9, and that equals to square root of 5. So we know our line segment is equal to our, that doesn't look good, our line segment is equal to 5. Oh my goodness, 5. We're going to move on to the next question. So the next question, I've actually drawn it on the right, this part here. Now, just to explain it, it's saying that it's already given us our first point, but it first says it's given us our midpoint, which is this, and then it's saying the first point, point A, is there, but we don't really know what our point B is, so we leave it as x2, y2. So now I'm going to substitute all the information into this formula here, and let's see what we get. So our x1, which is the x coordinate for the first point, is 2. So I'm going to put 2 there. Our x coordinate for our x2, we don't know what it is, so I'm just going to write x2. I'll leave it as is. And then we have our y1, which is 3, so I'm going to substitute 3 in there. And our coordinate for the B point, our y coordinate, is y2, so I'm going to leave it as is. Now in black I'm going to write this again. So we have 2 plus x2 over 2, comma 3 plus y2 over 2. And let's close that bracket. Also what I'm going to write is our midpoint, we know, this should eventually equal to 6, because that's our midpoint there for the x coordinate for the midpoint, and obviously this will be a 4. So we should know, and this is where it gets really interesting, alright, this whole thing 6, so what's something divided by 2 gives us 6? I know it's 12. So I know that this upper here is 12. So what's 2 plus something gives me 12? 10. So I know this is my 10. Now I'm going to do the same logic here. I know that this whole thing is equal to 4. So this divided by 2 is equal to 4 is 8. So 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. So I know that this is 8. So what's 3 plus something gives me 8? 3 plus something gives me 8. That something is 5. So, having said that, I'm going to write my x2 is equal to 10 and my y2 is equal to 5. Now we could have just written this in an algebraic formula, which is 2 plus x2 over 2 is equal to 6, and eventually simplify it until you get x, and the same with the y. So we know our coordinate for B is 10, 5. That's about it. If you guys got any questions, let me know. We'll answer it in class. Thank you.